In this episode of Highlight Sundays, Samsung, Apple, and Google. Hello and welcome back to Highlight Sundays. It is the 20th week of 2013, and here are your highlights. We start off with big news from Samsung. In this article from Engadget, Samsung is apparently ready to roll out 5G in 2020. In their tests, apparently they have reached up to 1 gigabit per second transfer rate. Now this is a pretty significant breakthrough. 1 gigabit per second is a pretty fast speed. In fact, a lot of our home internet isn't that fast just yet. Now apparently this is achieved by making use of a shorter wavelength, which was previously inaccessible. And of course they're just giving it the 5G name for convenience, I guess, or maybe to even create hype. Because you see, 5G isn't a standard, unlike 3G, which is. So while this remains interesting news, let us not get too crazy about it, because first, even Samsung says 2020, it's going to take a little while. Seeing as that they're using newer infrastructure that may or may not be present everywhere around the world yet, this sort of technology is going to take a little bit of time to roll out. So in the video description, you're going to find two articles, the first of which is the Engadget article that I mentioned, while the second one will go further in depth. It will talk about the technicalities of this finding, as well as why 5G is literally meaningless. Having said that though, I'm always very happy to see, mobile platforms pushing towards higher speeds. Our next article comes from Mashable, entitled Google offers 15 gig unified storage across Gmail, Drive, and Google+. So here's the deal. Some time ago, what's happened is that people have found that Gmail essentially offers a lot of storage space. So one strategy people can do to kind of do cloud storage is they would actually install a browser extension which actually allows you to upload your documents or spreadsheets or whatever kind of stuff, and I'm guessing it will do an email to yourself kind of thing, which essentially means that you're actually using that Gmail Drive quota for storing your own documents. Now Google didn't come out outright and say no, you shouldn't do that, but Google wasn't very happy and they were saying things like, we can't guarantee that files will remain there. And I guess that's the reason why this extension didn't really catch on a very major grand scale. But it remains a fact that, much of your Gmail storage is just sitting there. I mean, I have a Gmail account and I barely use 1% of my storage, despite the fact that I've had that account for years. So here's the deal. What Google is doing now is, instead of saying Gmail is going to have this amount of storage, Google Drive is going to have this amount of storage, and obviously Google+, which includes your photos and stuff like that, is going to have its own storage. Google is now going to put all of these storage spaces into one quota. If you were to buy an upgrade pack, for example the 100 gig pack for $4.99 a month, this storage can then be used for your mail, can be used for your documents, or even for larger files that you upload to Google+. And now of course this is a pretty good thing if you ask me. I don't really see any downside to this. This in fact removes the restriction on individual services, which means that if you are a heavy Google Drive user and much less of a heavy mail user, well, you can allot more space to Google Drive. And of course vice versa for any of the three items mentioned. So yeah, I think it's a great idea and a great improvement. Now according to some comments on that Mashable article, it turns out that maybe it hasn't fully rolled out yet, but this is certainly planned and should be coming out very soon. So yeah, if you're interested in this, just stay tuned. It will probably roll out to you very soon. And we're back to the land of patents. If you're trying to take a photograph with your iPhone, iPad, iPod, or whatever other iDevice that comes with a camera and a flash, and you're not satisfied with the lighting that you have or that the flash can provide, what this patent suggests is that you can actually use your phone, link up to other iOS devices, and when you take the picture, their flashes fire off as well. This allows you to of course have cool slave flashes kind of thing, like in a professional photography setup. And yeah, that's nice and all, but really that's what you're gonna use a phone for? If you ask me, it's gonna be a novelty feature more than anything else. Having said that, knowing Apple, they may actually turn this into something significant, so we shall have to see. Once again, of course, this is a patent application. There are no physical implementations of this just yet. However, interesting concept, and we shall see what they make of it. Google Glass. A lot of people have been talking about this. It's been stirring up a lot of news. And what started out as "this is really cool" eventually moved on to people thinking about things like privacy and what it's gonna be like to be wearing a camera on your face all day. In fact, these concerns have now become so serious and so pressing that Congress sends Google a list of questions about privacy and glass, according to this article from Ars Technica. And here's the reason why. You see, Google Glass has a front-facing camera that is essentially on all the time, and if you root the device, you can actually trigger the camera surreptitiously, and not to mention the fact that with advances in facial recognition technology, putting all these together could mean that you can do pretty scary things like stalking or I don't know, I'm not a stalker. But yeah, this is obviously a concern. Surreptitiously taking pictures of people without their consent is definitely an issue that are bugging some people. So yeah, Google has actually been given up to June 14th to answer all these concerns. But honestly, we can't be very sure that Google is really very serious in answering these concerns. Well, of course, they will tell you that privacy is their number one concern, and I do believe that. However, according to this next article from Gizmodo, it seems that the answer they're giving is, well, you can't really be spied on using the Google Glass, because to spy on someone means you need to essentially keep staring at them, because that's the way, the Google Glass is designed. And essentially their conclusion from that point is, don't worry, you'll know. I mean, well, yes, I suppose, but that's just not, a very concrete kind of answer. And like this article from Gizmodo says, it is a pretty shaky privacy argument. So well, I'm looking forward to any formal answers Google may put out to the questions that were asked by Congress. So yeah, hopefully, well, things don't go sour for the Google Glass. I mean, I really love the concept of the Google Glass, and I will hate to see, this kind of things bogging it down. At the same time, it's important to actually think about things like privacy, so I'm glad people are actively asking questions. Now, right before I leave, just one more article, and this one isn't even news. This is just an interesting little link that I happened to stumble upon, and I thought might interest you. You see, these couple of days, among the other video work I'm doing, I am also actually trying to make a web page. Most people who try to do things on the internet want a web page for branding purposes. And when I actually researched into that, I actually took a look at this page. This page is entitled Browser Display Statistics. It is provided by w20schools.com, and exactly as the name implies, it brings you statistics on the screen size of people browsing the web. They also have information from the past years. I believe very detailed information goes back to 2010 or 2011, and you can actually see a breakdown in terms of percentage of all the screen resolutions. So yeah, this actually lets you see the evolution of computer displays. And that's it. According to this recording here, I have overrun massively, so I'm not gonna vlog too much. I just want to very quickly mention that, well, I'm very happy that the announcement for the Trippy Particles pack is finally out, so I can be a little bit more free to talk about, that project in particular. But all I'm gonna tell you right now is, yes, things are coming out fine. I am setting up that webpage partially as a landing page to host all those particular files as well. But yeah, essentially that's all I really have for you today. I've had a very busy past week, so, well, maybe I'll be creating more content. Not this week though, we're still gonna continue talking about the command line on Wednesday. But that's all there is for this episode of Highlight Sundays. If you have any comments, queries or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow the official Twitter for this channel at twitter.com/0612tv. As always, I appreciate every like, favorite and subscription you give me. But until next time, you're watching 0612TV.